I'm also passionate about food, especially when it's prepared for me. Like I really enjoy it.
It always tastes better when somebody else cooks.
Doesn't it? I mean, I have very specific food requirements, meaning I require a lot of attention when it comes to food. I have to plan the list, I have to plan the menu.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Hi, this is Joe, Dr. Energy Piazza.
And RaRa is in the house. This is Kathryn Asaro Myers.
And welcome to our BU Network podcast, where we have conversations worth having. We appreciate you spending time with us. In our podcast, you can expect three things. 1, the guest moment. 2, the BU moment. And 3, the final moment.
As promised, we are giving you a special audible. On each show, your job, don't think of it as a job, but think of it as a fun thing to do. Your fun thing to do is to find it. You know the game, Where's Waldo? Well, here, we'll ask you to listen for the audible.
That's awesome. So we're going to have some sort of a special sound or sound effect or something somewhere in the podcast. And you get to let us know what it was and approximately what time stamp it was.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Test your listening skills.
Right. And we had some requests for different sounds. So we're going to go through those requests. And if you don't like the sound, just don't blame us. Just, figure that we're just listening to our audience.
Yep. Or email us and suggest a sound that you'd like to hear. And, we take requests.
So we won't give notable mentions, but we do appreciate all the sounds. Some of them, you'll hear them. We'll make sure that they're very obvious to you.
Yes, absolutely. So how are you doing, Kathryn?
I'm doing fantastic. This is such a great day. It's daytime for us right now, as opposed to some of the times that we like to be night birds. But here we are deciding that we wanted to see the sunlight today or the daylight while we're doing this show. So I'm great. I'm really awesome. I'm excited about what we're going to be offering to our audience, serving our audience today, because this is a fantastic subject. Everybody uses this word pretty much, I would say every day, but I think you use it at least every other day. So it's a common word in our vocabulary, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
So do you want to introduce what that word is and the topic for this podcast?
Oh, okay, sure. Yes. And I was going to say this word means different things to each of us. And that's what we'll talk about today. We'll give you some statistics and then some perspective on it. So our word for today is, drum roll, please. Passion.
That's a great one. And you're right. It does mean a lot of different things to different people. And even in the dictionary has a couple of different meanings to it. You may remember the film, The Passion of the Christ.
No, I don't remember that.
I think it was a Mel Gibson movie or produced or something. And passion in that sense really means suffering. And that's not normally the way we think of the word passion. Normally we think of the word passion as things that we're excited about, things that get us going, things that we really enjoy, that really spark something in us. So but as we go through this, I think you'll see that the word suffering actually has a connection to excitement and to the joy and to the spark that ignites us as well. So.
Well, I can think of a few funny things that I can say. Yep, I agree with you.
No, this is not 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh, okay. Well, see, you know where my mind went. But we did do some clean research on this subject, and we were able to listen to, when we watched it, it was a TED Talk. Right. It was to YouTube. Terry Trespicio,
I think is the name.
Yes, thank you. And she had a great...
And we'll put that link in the show notes as well, by the way.
Yes. Yeah. Great idea. Yes, we should. She had a great take on it. I actually watched it. It was 10 minutes. I watched it 4 different times. And each time I watched it, one time I actually listened to it without watching her. And then I wanted to see her body language. And the way she talks about how her life changed when she got fired from
Right.
Martha Stewart, right? So let's talk a little bit about things that we're passionate about, so our audience can learn a little bit about our perspective.
Right.
So let's go back and forth and see if we could do it off the top of our head without really thinking hard. What are you passionate about?
Right. That's exactly, because today we're not only your hosts, we are also the guests today.
Exactly. So let's interview each other on
Excellent. So some of the things that I am passionate about are alpine skiing. I've been an alpine ski racing coach for almost 30 years, of generally kids from about the age of 7 till 18, so different age groups within that. I'm very passionate about reading and education and research. Give me a good book and I can go offline and just get absorbed in the material, no problem. Cycling, all types, road cycling, mountain biking, you name it. If it's on a bike on 2 wheels, I'll do it. So those are a couple of the things. How about yourself?
Thank you. I'm passionate about yoga. That really gives me a place to go and get out of my head. I love to walk into I should say going to the yoga studio. I can do yoga anywhere, obviously, but I like going into the studio because it's controlled by those people, and I walk in and it's their set of rules, and I basically am doing what they set up. And I like that. Not a lot, but I like that. I like following my own rules, but yoga gives me a good headspace.
Right.
I'm also passionate about food, especially when it's prepared for me. Like, I really enjoy it.
It always tastes better when somebody else cooks.
Doesn't it? I have very specific food requirements, meaning I require a lot of attention when it comes to food. I have to plan the list, I have to plan the menu, I have to plan the shopping, I have to know where it came from, what country, what all that stuff. Right. So yoga food. And another thing that I'm really passionate about, and maybe we didn't talk about this, but it always comes up in things that we do. I'm passionate about music. Music allows me to get really into a deep zone. Right. So we have a lot of music references on our website. We have a lot of music references when we're doing live events and even for our podcast here. Right. So music for me, once upon a time, I actually thought I could sing. I was really young and I couldn't sing at all.
I was in choir when I was in grade school.
So was I, but I was probably there because my mother, threatened the teacher or something. I don't know. I remember Mr. Blale. I don't know how he tolerated me, even gave me a lead, but that was just out of the goodness of his heart. I was really grateful to actually have experienced that. So it's yoga, food, and music. Now, I took notes when you were speaking. You're passionate about skiing, reading, and cycling. So I see that we both have something physical that we both enjoy, yoga and cycling. Skiing is, you have two physical things, and then food and music for me, and then reading. So it seems to me that you are more physical and outgoing in the things that you're passionate about, just in this conversation anyway, than I am. It looks like I like to sit down and eat and probably walk, maybe sit down when I'm listening to music. So maybe I better think about that, get a little bit more active, because you came up with those things really quick. So we think about what comes off the top of our head, right? Right.
And that's a great point. Those all of those things I've been doing for 30 plus years. I've been riding a bike since I was 5 years old. In fact, I even taught myself to ride a bike. A kid in the neighborhood had a bike with no training wheels, and one day I just said, I'm going to ride, and I got up and basically did it the first time. And I've been, ever since then, I build my own bikes. I tune them up. We used to play bicycle tag, where you crash your bike into the other guy to tag him it all through a townhouse complex. So we were launching ourselves off of stairs and hills and building jumps and all. And I still like to do that kind of stuff, not crashing into people, but going off of jumps and everything. But
I'm glad you identified.
Yeah. I'm a lot more careful with my body these days. But it's true that those things that we tend to be passionate about are those things that often we've been doing for a long time in our life, and we don't even have to think about it. They just, like you said, they're just off the top of our head. And this is where I was talking about the suffering actually being connected to it. There's some suffering goes along with cycling or with coaching skiing, because you always have to be improving. You always have to be updating your technique or learning something new in order to teach it. And that's one of my other great passions in my life is teaching on all different levels. And so it's almost a form of suffering that you have to go and put yourself through critique by somebody else in order to give you feedback on what you're doing. And that can be hard sometimes to receive that feedback from others about how you can improve, because we always think we're doing really, really well. And so to get that feedback, sometimes it can be a little bit hard on the ego until you realize, oh, wait a minute, it's not about me. It's about my improving myself so I can help somebody else improve and be of more service to them. So that's kind of the idea of the suffering. What are we willing to go through in order to get better or to do something we love to do?
So what I'm hearing is that these passions that we're talking about right now were all formulated at a young age. So for example, you talked about skiing and cycling when you were young. We know that you started reading when you were young. But I'm thinking yoga, for me, I was 13 and I joined a health club. So before that, I was doing cartwheels on the grass at 8 and 9 and whatever. So what I'm finding is what we're discussing is the fact that this was not something new. We're not talking about this newfound passion that we found as adults. These, I would say, ideas, which turn into passions, are planted at a very young age. So when you're listening to this today, tonight, whenever, tomorrow, whenever you're listening to this, think about the things that you do and that you love. These are habits. These are old habits. You know, we don't have to give away age here, but I was certainly talking about something that's over
25, 30 years.
Over 25, 30 years for me.
And me.
And you too. So if we're going to look at young children, if we're around them, we are going to be a big part of the things that they're passionate about later. So let's just go to this subject. Let's talk about newfound passions as an adult. And let's do, you do one, I do one, you do one, I do one. That way we can catch some thoughts and get them out there. So let's do 3 more. Okay, so we'll do this free association. Oh, very good. Okay. So I am really passionate about clothes. Now, maybe that's all like for a long time, but I'm certainly passionate about it right now, even though I might have been before.
Right.
Your turn.
Oh, I thought you were going to give a little more of a rundown on that.
No.
Well, you know, some people might not be surprised about a woman being excited or passionate about clothes and such, but I've definitely seen that shift for you as well. For me, the teaching aspect has definitely been a more recent thing. So, you know, I've been a chiropractor now for almost 20 years. And so that's definitely in my adult life. And it's funny that the teaching aspect of it is what really is a big aspect of it for me. I remember a high school teacher when I was finishing up high school as a senior that said to me, "Oh, you should go to teachers college." I'm like, no, I don't want to be a teacher. And now that would have been even 15 years before chiropractic college or more. And so now here I am teaching. And teaching.
Okay, I'm really passionate about art. I'm staring at an oil painting by a friend that I had met a long time ago. Actually, I don't even know where she is at this moment, so she's kind of moved around and I haven't been in touch with her lately. But I'm staring at 2 of these beautiful oil paintings. So again, perhaps I had this when I was younger, but as an adult, I'm able to purchase the art that I enjoy. So I find that it's a lot of fun. Some of the art is way out there, and I always wonder, like, where will I put that? And some art is just standing like in a room because I don't know where to hang it, but I'll have it. Like, I don't mind having it. I don't have to put it on the walls, and I can switch things up. So art, again, pleasing to the eye. I guess this is definitely a trend here. What about you?
So another one for me would actually be creativity. So and that gets expressed for me. You know, as a kid, I kind of thought I could draw a little bit, you know, just riffing off of the artwork. For me now, the creativity more is creating things online. So, you know, creating my own website for the office in the past, or creating online courses. So those types of things, it's art, but of a different sort. So I would definitely say that has been much more of a recent passion of mine than before.
Right. Thank you. You might have been creative when you were little, but we weren't there to see that.
Yeah, exactly.
So my third thing that I want to talk about, I'm going to slip two in because I think they go together. Just because meditation and EFT. I definitely enjoy this. Now, it's not necessarily high, low level, or it's what it is. It is whatever it is for me.
Right.
Sometimes I feel that the tapping the EFT or tapping just really grounds me. I don't know what word was I was saying a second ago. It grounds me and it gives me this, I can think about things.
Right.
There we go.
Yes.
What is that? Okay. So Excellent. It grounds me, and meditation, of course, just puts me into the zone.
Right. And yeah, meditation, I mean, emotional freedom technique, the EFT is wonderful for that. And the meditation, I find for me, the meditation I've been doing that for a little while as an adult more than anything. It really helps me become more resilient, more adaptable in stressful moments. I don't get as overwhelmed in the moment when my meditation practice is on. When it's off, I find myself more reactive rather than responsive in the moment. And so that's great. So my third, so I just wanted to riff off of your meditation a little bit. Please, and then my third passion is actually a rediscovery of an older passion, is getting into the gym and working out, lifting some weights. You know, when I was a teenager, again, senior in high school, myself and two friends, we used to go and 5 o'clock in the morning to the gym and work out with like the bodybuilder guys. And we used to really push ourselves in the gym to be really fit. And I got away from that in my early adulthood. And I'm just starting to rediscover my passion for that. I'm getting excited about getting back into the gym and becoming fitter again. I mean, I'm pretty fit. I play hockey and golf and cycle and stuff, but just taking it to another level. I'm really getting excited about that again.
I agree with you there on that. I didn't have a chance to mention it because we only gave 3, but let me tell you I took notes. So this is what we have. So the first 3 passions you talked about were skiing, reading, and cycling.
Yep.
Then they all stemmed from the early childhood. And then as an adult, you talked about teaching, creativity, and the gym.
Right.
My first 3 were yoga, food, and music.
Right. And
my adult or more recent passions are clothes, couture, art, meditation, and EFT.
Right.
So these are the things we're passionate about. Now, let me ask you this. Do you do any of these 6 things on a daily basis?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm going to interview you for a second.
Sure.
What do you do on a daily basis of those 6 things that you just talked about?
Okay, well, skiing, obviously, I can't do on a daily basis, especially unless it's wintertime. But, you know, so there's that. But as far as the other things go, reading, I definitely read on a daily basis. I meditate. I'd like to say on a daily basis. I don't make it every single day, but I'm good for 4 to 5 out of 7 days of meditating.
What about your teaching, creativity, gym? Yeah. So skiing, reading, cycling.
Yeah. So cycling, I ride my bike to the office every day. I live close enough that I can ride my bike to the office. So, you know, staying fit that way. The gym, I work out 4 to 5 times a week as well. And what else was I talking about? So creativity.
Teaching creativity.
So the teaching, we're building on that, and there's some aspect of teaching that I'm doing every day, creating a course or putting together a talk for at the office or an external talk at the office to share with people, to talk about health and well-being and those types of topics. And creativity. I'm always working on looking at the website. How can we tweak it? How can it be a little bit better? What else can we do to add to create more value for our website visitors?
Right. Okay. So of the 6, thank you. So of the 6 things that you mentioned that you are passionate about, other than skiing because of the weather, you are basically incorporating reading, cycling, creativity every day, teaching because we're doing, there are courses, and the gym is almost every day. So you are pretty much, the 6 things that you mentioned are in your daily life.
Exactly.
Okay, awesome. I'll answer my own.
For you? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to answer my own question in case you wanted to switch it around, because I just wanted to see for myself.
I was going to ask for you. I was just going to ask you.
Yeah, because I don't know the answer, right? Like I
Right.
just asked you the question. I'm thinking, yeah, are any of those things something that I actually do on a daily basis?
Right.
So yoga for me is 4 to 5 times a week, like your gym. And in between, it's the gyms. Food, absolutely. It's part of my day, because I don't ever miss food on a daily basis. I mean, I have food every day. Music is, Alexa.
Yeah.
I don't know if I say it, she's going to play it. So listen to okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask Alexa to do this live. Alexa, play Stacey Kent. Oh, I unplugged her. Oh, look at that. She can't talk. I unplugged her. So Stacey Kent is one of my favorite things to listen to, one of my favorite artists. And I listen to her every morning. I guess if I hadn't unplugged her, she might have been talking. Right. She tends to speak up whenever she wants. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to go through the other 3.
Oh, okay.
Clothes, couture. Yeah, I just wanted to finish. Every day I have to absolutely use clothing as part of my uniform. But I do actually a lot more shopping now than I have in the past. I used to just buy things like seasonally. And now I find that I have a little bit more time where I go and I look for things, and I call it retail therapy. Art, I make sure it's part of my business. And I engage people to do that with me. And art, well, I don't purchase art on a daily basis. I look at art. I mean, I don't remember the last time I bought a piece of art that I would say it was awesome. Most of my art are things that I've collected from a while ago. I have a huge, big piece. So I look at art every day. I have this really big, awesome oil painting in our living room that we can see from everywhere. So that's something.
I know the one you're talking about. Yep.
You know that one? Yeah, yep. I love that. I love that piece. And meditation and EFT, I absolutely meditate every day. And EFT is not every day, but it is part of our regime.
Right. Cool. Yeah, I find the music one is a big one for me as well, lifelong. And I've actually just recently, I guess, rediscovered Amy Winehouse. She's amazing talent, gone way too soon. But some of her more early stuff, the really jazzy work that she did was just absolutely incredible. Her voice is just amazing. So I've been listening to her a lot again lately.
Yeah, we do too. We definitely do. So let me ask you a question. Okay, these are passionate things, things that we're passionate about, and things that we are part of our day. Let me ask you about, what are you passionate about, but you don't do it because of some whatever? It could be a financial thing that's in the way. It could be geography. It could be, I don't know, just something that you decided not to do, but you're really passionate about it and you want to get back to it. Like the long lost passion. Let's each talk about one thing.
That would be travel for me. I would like to do a lot more traveling, be able to be anywhere, and just enjoying being in a different place. One of the reasons I've kind of let it slide is, one, the financials a little bit, as we're working through some business things, but more than that has been, I found that I got a little bit stale, or stuck would probably be a better word, in my thinking, in that, I can't be bothered traveling because I got to pack and go, and the change and this, that, and the other thing, and blah, all the mind talk that comes up that keeps us from pursuing things. So travel would be the big one for me. What about you?
Well, gardening, and that's because we live in a building.
Right.
So I really love gardening, and I remember, because we move so much. We have so many different things that we live in. Like, it's just silly. If you know me, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't,
what you're talking about.
If you don't, you just imagine us moving. So what happens is, I love gardening. I love actually watching something grow. And every time we moved into a building, so when we moved downtown Toronto, in the Charlie building, we had like a little rooftop, something or other, nothing special. So I really missed the garden there. Like, it was buildings, restaurants. Then when we moved to the townhouse, we had a little garden, and I took nothing and planted a whole bunch of things because I took it, a lot of the stuff was spin-offs from friends and stuff. I really enjoyed the friendship garden we had when we lived in Stonehaven. Everybody brought a piece, and this was just,
I remember that. Yep.
Oh, that was awesome. I loved that. And now where we live, I stare out the window and I can see the gardens.
Right.
And that's lovely. It's a good second because I can watch them and I don't have to really worry about the bugs in the dirt and all that stuff. But I do like, and I miss not being able to choose a plant or watch the honeysuckle grow or take this new variety that I had never planted before. And I thought, well, it didn't go with those other gardens for the color or whatever. And I want to do that. I really want to get my hands into that. So we looked at a place that had a community garden. We ended up not liking that, so we weren't moving there. But what I have is I have plants in the house. But what I believe I need to do, and really, like you talked about what got in the way, and I need to go and visit gardens, like step in the gardens, and not the formal ones that I'm looking. These are award-winning gardens some year they had, which they're beautiful, but I can't touch them really. I'm not going to go in there. We're going to pick a friend that has a garden, and we're going to say to them, how about garden tea party or a garden lunch or some time that we can bring something and plant it. I missed that. I really need to see it. Going to the garden center and buying something and
getting your hands on it, right?
Yes, like doing this in the house is okay, but I mean, just planting it. So this is, I went on a little bit too long about that, which is funny. It got me all excited.
Of course.
Walk around the house here. I'm truly passionate about that, and it's definitely missing. So let's do that. You travel and I'll garden.
Perfect. Maybe we can combine the two somehow.
Oh, okay. Well,
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Let's take a trip. And we can go to Holland and look at the tulips, but that's not gardening. But we have some pretty good tulip gardens here in Ottawa as well. We could. Let's do that.
Dig into it. Yeah, we have the tulip festival every spring up here. So.
Okay. See, I immediately thought we'll go to Holland and look at the tulips, and you were very much more practical. We can do it a lot faster.
For me, traveling to Ottawa, it's only a 20-minute drive to the tulip gardens. For you, it's a little bit longer, but
yes. Okay, so we'll do that.
We'll go to. I'm good with Holland. I can bice-cycle over there too.
That's what I was thinking.
Exactly.
But, sir, we can do our show from over there.
So. I have what I think is a great question for you, and I'll answer it after you answer it.
Okay.
But there, in that TEDx talk that we watched, she talked about how we are taught, so many people teach about following your passion, and that you got to find your passion and then go live it, do it. And what she has found was actually that when she started doing something and then became passionate about it. So is there some of the 6 things that we talked about that you were passionate about, was there something was one of those things that it wasn't that you were passionate about it and then started doing it, was that you kind of started doing it and then developed the passion for it?
Yes. Before I answer that, I just wanted to say what really stuck out in my mind when Terry talked about don't lend anyone money on something they're passionate about, because that's not a good business decision. Okay, so your question was, is there anything that I started out with?
Right. You weren't necessarily particularly passionate about it. You think, hey, I'll give it a try out. It sounds interesting. And then you got into it and it's like, wow, I really enjoy this. I'm really passionate about it. I want to keep doing this. And it may not even be one of the 6. It might be something different.
Right. Because the 3 that I talked about, yoga, food, and music, when I was young, I developed that. And then art and meditation, EFT, and clothes were all pretty common. But yes, I mean, like they were natural, and like that was something I've always been doing. So let's talk about not drinking caffeine.
Right.
I'm really passionate about not drinking caffeine. Now that's new. So what happened was, and I don't know if I'm answering your question the right way.
No,
so okay. As an Italian, I drinking coffee.
Yeah, we drink a bit of coffee.
We drink coffee. That's it. And the way I used to say it was coffee, drink a lot of that. And then I've given it up over the different times in my life, but I certainly gave it up on a regular basis every January. I'm like, I'm going to give up coffee. I'm going to give it up. I started doing that with some of my clients because they were giving up things. Like I would give up sugar, I would give up different things. So what happened was I decided a couple of years ago, really more recently, I experienced for the first time vertigo. It was like 4 years ago. I decided to give up coffee and give up caffeine. So I basically do not have any teas with caffeine. I don't have coffee. And that was a huge ritual for me because I would make a deal and a half about having a morning coffee, what I would put in it, what kind of beans, was it free trade, was it organic? It was a whole deal. And now I'm basically looking at lemon and water or rooibos tea, which is cold because I don't even drink it hot. I gave up that entire routine. It's gone, whether it took 5 minutes or 25 minutes, but all the headspace it took about this whole coffee thing, I freed up my hard drive. And in freeing up my hard drive of that, I do not have these blocks in my head when I get up. I'm like, there's the noise. I am ready to go because nothing is in my way. It's not like I have to have that. Oh, let me have that. Just I can hit the gym or pick up the dumbbell, or I pick up these dumbbells. I'm at the 7.5 pounds, like I mentioned. So, and I just pick that up and I walk around my bridge room with that, and I just make that like it's not even a big deal to exercise. I just want it to be part of my day. So this not having coffee was something I had to grow into, and I really like it. It's quite liberating to not have that vice, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And in your answer, you actually answered my follow-up question because you were talking about giving things up. And, often we as in our culture, we talk about giving things up when we see it as a sacrifice, but instead it's what do we gain? So I'm changing this behavior in order to gain something. And you mentioned in that your answer that you gain more headspace, more freedom of thought, that in the morning you don't have this block in the way. You just get up and you go on with your day right away because the thoughts of the morning ritual of the coffee, et cetera, wasn't there as something that had to be done first before your day could start.
Right. And before I ask you, I just wanted to ask you one question. Do you ever meet someone who says, like, I don't know, I have to have my first cup of coffee, or I can't? And I think about that when I hear this conversation and I hear this coming from someone, I think, what if you could have a different results? What if you could do anything you want at any given time? Like, what if you were not controlled by this behavior? It makes me think about that. So when I hear that with someone, I usually make a note and say, I would love to talk to them about it if they're open at another time. Just the what if. Okay, so let's hear what about you.
Okay.
Tell us your story.
So before I get to that, I can identify with the coffee ritual. I actually have become a little bit of I guess some people might call it a coffee snob. I have my own, I buy my beans whole, freshly roasted. I have my own grinder. I have my own espresso maker. So I make Americanos generally. And I really do enjoy the ritual of that. However, I'm not a slave to it. There are mornings when I don't have a cup of coffee. I can just get up and go. I'm doing something else. I do enjoy the ritual. For me, it's almost meditative. It sets that tone of the day that helps me slide into the day, but it's not an absolute need, like I gotta have a cup of coffee.
Right. You're not walking around telling your patients, don't talk to me, I didn't have a like you do it, It's not, I see people who leave the house who say, like, I'll go to a meeting and they're like, I have to have my coffee. And I'm thinking, well, then why didn't you have it at home?
Yeah, exactly. It's not like that for me at all. So to answer your question a little more in depth about something that I started that maybe I wasn't passionate about at the beginning. I remember when I went to university, I was dead set on being a doctor. And I thought medical doctor at the time. And as I was in university, that, especially through my first year, that really started to change. And the summer between my first and second year university, I started to actually see a chiropractor because I wasn't able to play tennis, another sport that I really enjoy a lot. And because I couldn't stand up straight, I had a really sore and stiff back. So I started seeing a chiropractor, and he started adjusting me, and I started to feel, I felt better, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. And I saw him all basically throughout university, never really thinking about it as a profession or anything. And then he said to me one day when I was in for an appointment just after I graduated, chiropractic is really about restoring the body's innate wisdom so that the body's inner healing intelligence can come through stronger, and your body can be as well and as vibrant as possible. And I was like, oh my God, that makes total sense. And from that day on, that's when I started to get excited and passionate about chiropractic, and then became a chiropractor after that.
Well, he really influenced you, huh?
He really did. And it's funny because for 3.5 years, he never said anything about that. He was just adjusting me and everything. And I said, Russ, how come you never told me about this before? He goes, well, I wasn't sure if I should share about, the inner healing intelligence. I'm like, oh my God, this is going to change my life. And it has for the last 25 years, plus years.
Wow, that's amazing, right? When we're talking to people, we never know what we're going to say that is going to change their life. And people talk about that.
Exactly.
Changing, and there's passion for you, right? And now you are doing this for other people. Do you ever decide to tell anybody what Russ is name? Russ
yep,
or
Russ?
Ross? Yep. Russ, do you ever decide to tell anybody what Russ told you?
Absolutely. I tell that story to not most, but a good chunk of my new patients, and or when I'm out giving an external talk, just explaining a little bit about how my journey was, and to people so they can understand a little bit. And I actually got the chance, because after he moved away shortly after that, and I actually got to reconnect with him at a seminar a couple of years after that, just after I graduated from chiropractic college, actually, and was able to say thank you and shake his hand and give him a hug face to face, to thank him for the path that I was able to journey because of his influence.
So, Dr. Energy, that means that when you're with a patient, if you as the doctor were to not tell the story, but to do what he did.
Right.
What he did is he said, hey, this is what this really does.
Right.
And with the authority that you have vested in you.
Now pronounce you.
Yeah, doctor and patient. So if you were to say that,
right,
you might do exactly for someone else what he did for you, because it's all about timing.
Yep, absolutely.
For that patient. So there you are, you're a student, you're going to university, and he probably wasn't planning on changing your life. Obviously he wasn't.
He had no idea.
But the timing was right for you.
Exactly.
So our audience learned a lot, or is learning a lot about us tonight. And that's great, because we're available. We're mentally and spiritually open to having this discussion. Absolutely. What I like about us being our own guest tonight is that we didn't hold back.
Right.
We shared. And when you're listening to us, know that we're going to give you everything that we possibly can. Because the 3 things that we said we would do would be a guest moment.
Right.
A BU moment. I'd like to get on to that.
Yes, absolutely.
And then our final moment. So let's talk about, because it's funny that this is the next segment in our show.
The BU moment.
The BU moment. Tell me, what are you doing at this very moment?
I am standing in my recording studio / office.
I thought you were going to say in my pajamas.
No, I'm not in my pajamas. Okay. It's too early in the day for pajamas.
Okay.
But I am standing looking out the window, being inspired. I have a nice, beautiful tree outside my window, and the sun kind of is coming in. Late afternoon sun's kind of filtering through the tree into the office. And it's just really beautiful to see that. And of course, I'm looking at my Gumby and Pokey on the shelf next to the window.
Of
course. And so just having that juxtaposition of the beauty of the sun coming through the trees, that life, and the fun of the Gumby and the Pokey, that remembering to have that childlike awe and wonder about everything. That's what I'm doing right now. What about yourself?
Well, it's funny. It must have been the power of suggestion. So I had a little faux pas before with walking around. So I'm in my bridge room.
Yes, we edited that out.
Yeah, I know. I just thought people should know, like, the real thing. I'm attached to a tripod and walked away. Don't tell them. I'm telling them. I have to be real. Here's what happened.
Integrity.
Yeah, right? I have to tell you what happened. So what happened was, we were talking about garden. I was thinking about garden. Whatever point we were at with that, I wanted to walk over to the window to look at the gardens, because the seed was in my head, and I wanted to walk over to my plants. And so while you were speaking, I thought, why don't I go, in case you heard any rustling, I was looking at my plants going, this needs to be pulled out. Because in the bridge room, I'm overlooking these gardens. Right. And I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 plants in here. It's not a lot, but I'm staring at them. So I thought, let me look at what needs to be pulled out. Sunday is my plant day. Right. Every Sunday at 1 o'clock, I water my plants. I look after them. I take care of them. I talk to them. That's just every Sunday at 1 o'clock. That's when they get watered. Not more, not less. That's the schedule for me, unless I'm not here, and that's a different story. So I'm in my bridge room. I have the dumbbell that I had picked up during some of the conversation we were having, and I had my hand on the plants because they need that, and that's, I guess, I need it and they need it. Yes, it's mutual, and I am really excited because I got to do that thing that I couldn't wait to do, which has been throughout the course of our podcast today, and it was just so natural. So to be in integrity and to be in authenticity, I didn't get really dressed up for this podcast because I don't have to. Right. I mean, I could, but I did pick a special outfit because I want to have certain things when we're doing our podcast that are comfortable and easy, so that I don't have any belts and chains and bracelets banging around. So I purposely made sure I was very sportive, so that way I can pick up the dumbbell and work with it and not drop it and worry about anything. So that's who I am at this moment on this show today. And I am the plant guru.
Mrs. Green Thumb.
That's it, Mrs. Green Thumb. Well, let's see. Maybe I'll do really well with them, I guess, especially now that I gave them all this attention. Today may be the day that they just spring right up. Excellent. Now, let's go to this. Let's go to, and when I say go to it, I mean, like, just transition in our minds, right? Let's think about, what did we give and what did we get out of today? Like, I'm thinking about the conversation.
So kind of a final moment thing. Right?
Sure, our final moment. Because I was listening to you. I was taking notes while you were talking. I wanted to know those 6 things. I wanted to know what I said. I wanted to see what it looked like. I'm a visual learner, and I need to write it. So I need to take copious notes in order to really understand. I have my fingers on the keyboard. I have to do all that so that it anchors. And I would like to know from you, if you would, Dr. Energy, if you'd like to go first, what is your final moment, or let's call it a takeaway? What's your final moment from today's show?
So my final moment would be that passion is important in our lives, and that, but it doesn't we don't have to know our passion in order to start something. Sometimes we have to start something and then find the passion in it. Sometimes we need to start something, doing something, play with it a little bit, test it out, and say, hey, I'm really kind of excited about this. I didn't think I would be. And then pursue it from there. So we don't always need to know our passion first. There's a big misperception, I would say, out in our culture that, I got to go find my passion and go do it. And then sometimes some people spend their whole life looking for their passion and never finding it. And they realize, oh my God, my whole life has passed. What did I do? Get out there, try some different things, and your passion will start to come through. It's an energy that you bring to everything that you do. It comes from within. It's not going to come from outside. So that would be my final moment. The passion comes from inside of you, not looking for it on the outside.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. My final moment about today is regarding passion. It's a seed that's planted when we're very young. Our passion is there from, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, maybe when we were infants, that our passion is not the thing that we think, I really love helping people. I really want to make people feel good. Whatever that is, that might be a byproduct of it.
Right.
But the passion will come from something that was seeded in us as infants, pre-birth.
Right.
We could talk about how this all works, but the passion
that's another episode. That's
another podcast. That to me is a wonderful discovery, because I've thought about it. Right. But after we did the research for today's show and listening to both of us speak and thinking about it and listening to you, this is us. Like, oh, I love that show. This is us, that series. This is us. This is who we are. And it's there. We didn't just discover it yesterday. The seeds were there.
Right.
So for me, you've given me an awful lot of value and a lot to think about today. And I appreciate that openness, and I appreciate you being able to share about your childhood and what you did when you were young, and the fact that you were in a choir, and so was I, but I can't sing. The fact that we can share some more commonalities. Our audience could really appreciate, hopefully they can appreciate the fact that we're talking about these silly things when we were younger. And perhaps if they took notes, they'll be able to tell us that when they comment with us, or when they see us at one of our events, or when they get with us in one of our chat rooms and one of our webinars, or however we're going to do that. Because when you know something about your audience, it's important. But when you know something about the person who might be your presenter, your facilitator, that's really important too. It goes both ways. So absolutely. Thank you for sharing all of that today.
And I appreciate all that you bring and have brought to this episode as well. It's fantastic.
Thank you. I enjoy every minute of it. And for our audience, we enjoy you being here with us. We enjoy your comments. We enjoy what you send to us. And when we meet you face to face, we really enjoy the value that you give to us. We had some awesome people in our life this week that have given us some great value.
Oh, I can't wait to see what develops with them.
Oh, yeah. Some great tips that we've shared back and forth. Like, we are definitely working in our business, on our business, for each other, for our audience, for the people that we haven't met yet. We are soldiering forward, and it's just going to be an awesome show. Each show will be fantastic. So thank you so much for today. I had a great time, and I look forward to being you.
Absolutely. And in that note, on looking forward, do check out our website, b-u.network. And you can click on the podcast link at the top, on the menu at the top there, and that will take you to the episodes, and we'll have some show notes there for you, some links you can click on if you want to check out the TEDx talk that we were referencing. And as we go along, there'll be some other links that we'll be developing, some online courses that we will be offering shortly, and also some live events that we'll be offering. So check out the website for frequent updates, and that's where they're going to be posted. And on our next show, we're going to be sharing some information on something completely opposite to passion, and that's boredom. Now, what the heck does boredom have to do with passion? You're going to have to tune in and check us out. Hope to see you soon again on BU Network Podcast.
Ciao.
Ciao, babies.